Chair of the Treasury Select Committee, Harriett Baldwin.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I'm not sure that I've ever heard a more grudging shadow frontbench speech for a set of measures that they are going to support. They're going to support them so wholeheartedly today that none of their backbenchers have actually shown up to speak in support of them. But I am going to endorse the measures in the legislation in front of us today, Madam Deputy Speaker. I do think that the Chief Secretary is right when she points to the turning point that we have gone through in the UK economy this year. And that turning point is thanks to the fact that a year ago steps were taken to ensure that fiscal policy did not cut across the aims of the central bank to reduce inflation to its target. And I think it's thanks to that we are now seeing inflation, which might have been as high as 13% last year, fall to 4.6% today. And that means that we can stand here today and see that actually the earnings of the average UK worker are now rising faster than that rate of inflation. We're seeing real earnings growth, and that is the turning point that I am talking about. And the Shadow Chief Secretary and the Chief Secretary both talked about the choices that gave the Chancellor on this occasion. And indeed, there were choices that could be made. And I think that what has been interesting in the evidence that we've taken this week in the Treasury Committee on the autumn statement has been the clear impact of the choices that the Chancellor made on two things which have been long-standing challenges for the UK economy: the slow productivity growth and the fact that not everyone has returned to work since the pandemic. So the supply side measures on the labour market, the measures that were applied in terms of the permanent full expensing, these will be things that I can expatiate longer when we get to the finance bill. Today I want to just focus on the national insurance contribution element, Madam Deputy Speaker, and highlight the fact that that too is seen by the Office for Budget Responsibility as a supply side measure. Because it was interesting in the evidence that we took when the choice was made to actually go for the national insurance contribution reduction in the autumn statement, that we heard from the chair of the Office for Budget Responsibility, Professor David Miles, that this created a definite positive in terms of an incentive to work, and that they forecast that it will bring close to 100,000 full-time equivalent extra workers back into the workforce. That is so important, Madam Deputy Speaker. And Paul Johnson from the Institute for Fiscal Studies noted in his evidence to us that when compared to making a similar cut in income tax rates, a cut to national insurance is more progressive. It benefits people in work, but only on their earnings up to £50,000. And so I think that's an important context for the choice that the Chancellor took. I also welcome the fact, and our committee is very committed to the concept of simplification of taxes. There are far too many things in our tax system which act as actual disincentives to doing an extra hour of work. There are too many complicated withdrawal rates. I think the steps that were taken here in terms of the Class 2 and Class 4 do really represent a simplification of the tax system. And indeed, we were told in our evidence that the changes to Class 2 and Class 4 reduce the incentive for people to incorporate to gain a tax advantage, which I think is interesting, because we should have a tax system that is broadly neutral on those two things. So Professor Miles told us that he thinks that the national insurance cuts are unambiguously a positive, unambiguously a more positive incentive to work. The Office for Budget Responsibility does not see these measures as being inflationary. And he also said that some people at the margin who thought that it was not worth working may now be persuaded to actively try to get a job. And they think that this will help retain people in the labour force as well. And so I think in summarising my short remarks on the narrow measures in today's bill, I wanted to focus on that evidence that we had received on the choice that the Chancellor took on national insurance and how that is very much focused on the structural challenges that the UK economy faces. Thank you.